Good evening and welcome to you all. We're coming to you live from the National Results Center here in Pretoria. Well, the votes have been counted and everything has been verified. What's left now is for the IEC to formally announce the outcome of the 2011 local government election results. And without wasting any more of your time, we're going to cross over to the podium where the IEC's Chief Electoral Officer is standing by to tell us who has won formally the outcome of the elections of 2011.
All right, we're almost there. Okay, beautiful. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The President of the Republic of South Africa, His Excellency, Mr. Jacob Zuma, Ministers and Deputy Ministers present, Members of Parliament, Members of the Judiciary, Chairperson and Members of the Electoral Commission, Chairpersons and CEOs of Chapter 9 institutions and statutory bodies, Premiers and MECs present, members of the diplomatic corps, leaders and members of political parties, directors general and other senior government officials, traditional leaders, business leaders, leaders of faith-based organizations, media organizations and executives, representatives of non-governmental and civic society organizations, representatives of trade unions, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great honor and privilege to welcome you to the official announcement of the results of the 4th democratic municipal elections. When we began with preparations for these elections, we made a commitment to South Africans that we will perform our duties efficiently, effectively, and without fear, favor, or prejudice. We made a commitment to manage free, fair, and transparent elections that would compare to the best-run elections in the world. We believe that we have lived up to this commitment. On the 18th of May, 20,859 voting stations opened to receive 20.3 million registered voters. By 7 a.m. on that day, more than 90% of voting stations had opened. We did everything reasonably possible to give all South Africans, including disabled persons, physically infirm persons, and persons with visual impairment, the opportunity to cast their votes. Once voting commenced, it proceeded smoothly. A voter participation survey conducted on our behalf by the Human Sciences Research Council found that it took 67% of voters less than 15 minutes to reach their voting stations. On average, voters waited 23 minutes in the queue before voting. There were minor challenges. We were upfront about these challenges and we resolved them speedily. We take great pride in the measures that we had put in place to ensure the efficiency of counting and capturing of results. By 7 p.m. on the 19th of May, 24 hours after voting stations closed, 92.8% of the result slips were captured. A total of 92.3 had been audited and 92.4% had been scanned. In terms of our law, the Commission should declare results of elections within 7 days after such elections. The final results of the 2011 municipal elections, collated from a total of 58,152 result slips, were available within 56 hours. The processing of results could have taken place over an even shorter period. However, in our efforts to ensure transparency and to protect the integrity of the results, a number of steps had to be taken. All these steps contributed to an outcome that was accepted by all participants. The legal framework allows for any party to lodge an objection with the Commission. In total, 63 objections were received. The Commission considered these objections, and I am pleased to announce that not a single party has refused to accept the outcome of these elections. Ladies and gentlemen, throughout our preparations for these elections, we assured you of our commitment to ensure that the elections would be held in an environment that is conducive to them being free and fair. A total of 97% of voters sampled by the HSRC found that the election procedures were free. 96% were of the opinion that the election procedures were fair, and 97% voiced general satisfaction with the quality of service rendered by the officials of the Commission. We have always maintained that voter apathy is not a feature in our dynamic democracy. Not only is the voter turnout for these elections higher than we had for the 2006 municipal elections, but it is also the highest that we have had in the history of democratic municipal elections in this country. We have broken an international trend where elections, and local government elections in particular, progressively produce a lower voter turnout. Our target was to reach a 40% voter turnout. I am pleased to announce that the voter turnout for the 2011 municipal elections is 57.6%. Spoiled ballots stand at a mere 1.89%. Our heartfelt appreciation goes to each and every voter who took time off to vote. You have truly displayed the extent of your love for South Africa by coming out in your numbers to renew your commitment to this country's democratic traditions and legacy. Irrespective of who won the elections, our democracy has grown and matured further. I would like to thank my colleagues at senior management level who have supported me in leading this operation. A special word of gratitude goes to the Deputy Chief Electoral Officers, senior managers at national level, the provincial electoral officers, and all Commission staff at national, provincial, and local levels. Words cannot adequately express my appreciation to you for your commitment in ensuring that we fulfill our mandate with distinction. I also would like to pay tribute in particular to the more than 200,000 election officials who were deployed throughout the country. These men and women have worked for several days with dedication and efficiency in conducting the 2011 municipal elections in a smooth, peaceful, free, and fair manner. They performed their duties primarily for the love of our country with little financial reward. Political parties, especially those represented on the party liaison committees at all levels, have traveled together with us on this road. I would like to single out members of the National Party Liaison Committee for their support, advice, and the good spirit with which they have worked with us. Without exception, relevant government departments with whom we have worked have offered their invaluable assistance and support. We have been humbled by the compliments and good wishes from people across the spectrum of our country. Ordinary voters took time out after they had voted to send us messages of appreciation and to congratulate us on the running of these elections. Honorable President, fellow South Africans, please join me in paying tribute to some of this country's icons who have made an immeasurable contribution in building what is undoubtedly regarded as one of the best electoral commissions globally. These are the commissioners of the Electoral Commission of South Africa under the stewardship of Dr. Brigalia Bam, who has been the chairperson of the commission for the past 14 years. The term of our chairperson and 3 commissioners, namely the Deputy Chairperson, Commissioner Mpumlwane, and Commissioners Van der Merwe and Zelani, is coming to the end in October. My colleagues and I wish to thank you for your leadership and guidance over the years. We indeed have a mammoth task of continuing with the legacy that you have built over the years. I wish to thank those companies that have sponsored our Results Operations Center, our platinum sponsor, Telkom, our silver sponsor, Hewlett-Packard, and our gold sponsor, Hewlett-Packard, and our silver sponsors, Accenture and Internet Solutions. The Commission has also received financial contribution from Anglo-American and Standard Bank in support of its activities. You are indeed an epitome of good corporate citizenship. Our special word of gratitude also goes to the media, in particular our public broadcaster, the SABC, for keeping all South Africans informed in the run up to and during the elections. To all South Africans, I wish to say on behalf of the IEC, thank you for a great election. I now invite the chairperson of the Commission, Dr. Brigalia Bam, to announce the results of the 2011 municipal elections. I thank you.
Thank you. Fellow South Africans, President of the Republic of South Africa, His Excellency Jacob Zuma, Cabinet Ministers, Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Maxi Sulu, leaders of political parties, members of the diplomatic corps, representatives of international organizations, leaders of political parties, religious leaders, traditional leaders, the colleagues from the media, the thousands of volunteer workers who helped deliver the 4th local government elections, my colleagues from the Electoral Commission, all protocol observed, good evening. Tonight I stand here as a proud South African to testify that democracy has once again won in our country. Let me borrow from the preamble of our Constitution to prove that we have embraced the ideals of a democratic nation. I quote, "We, the people of South Africa, recognize the injustices of the past, honor those who suffered for justice and freedom in our land, respect those who have worked to build and develop our country, and believe that South Africa belongs to all who live in it, united in our diversity. We therefore, through our freely elected representatives, adopt this Constitution as the supreme law of the Republic, so as to heal the divisions of the past and establish a society based on democratic value, social justice, and fundamental human rights. Lay the foundations for a democratic and open society in which government is based on the will of the people and every citizen is equally protected by the law. Improve the quality of life of all citizens and free the potential of each person. Build a united and democratic South Africa, able to take its rightful place as a sovereign state in the family of nations. May God protect our people. Kosi sigeleli Africa, Morena Boluka Sichaba Saiso, Hotsien South Africa, God bless Africa, Mujimo Shafuzenza, Africa, Hosi Katekisa, Africa. This preamble reminds us that this is a time to be thankful that we live in a country where we fight our political battles at the ballot box and not through a barrel of the gun, martial law, civil law, ordinary. Ladies and gentlemen, 17 years ago we showed the world that we are able and living and willing to cooperate and work with one another to build a democratic country. We committed to build a nation that will proudly take its rightful place among the nations of the world. Our democracy has been enhanced by the holding of free and fair elections. 2011 local government election is yet another milestone in our evolution of our democracy. Today, our country is admired for its reputation of credible elections. Despite numerous challenges, our political parties have respected voters by creating space and environment for the electoral to be exposed to the diversity of opinions. Today, South Africa's multi-party democratic process is increasingly being recognized by the international community, and the IEC works closely with election commissions and authorities in more than 58 countries. We have received many awards for running credible and peaceful elections, the latest one being an award from Innovative Public Service Improvement. Indeed, our democracy and constitutional right is dynamic because it gives us all an opportunity to participate in determining our destiny. It has to be because it is of the people, for the people, and by the people. South Africa have once more shown us the way. Thank you, South Africa. As we celebrate the completion of the 2011 fourth local government elections in a free South Africa, I pay tribute also to South African voters, especially the voters who actively embrace democracy. I salute my colleagues again, the IEC team, which has substantially contributed to the evolution and dynamic growth of our electoral democracy. Democracy thrives when citizens are patriotic and tolerant of each other, political space and ideas, and when there is public trust and confidence in its constitutional institutions, especially the electoral management body and its processes. The public trust in the electoral processes can only be gained when citizens can be assured, amongst the other things, of the following: an independent body, well-equipped and knowledge-driven electoral commission that sits and adheres to clear deadlines, the provision of an environment which is conducive to facilitate dialogue and political tolerance, free political party formation, unhindered campaigning, a vibrant media, citizens' fundamental constitutional rights and freedoms are respected, including the rights to vote freely in secret balloting without coercion, access to information and voting stations, and the enjoyment of political rights such as freedom of speech and assembly. A secure environment in which voters can exercise their vote without fear of intimidation or retribution, as they did since we presided over special votes and visited the homes on Monday, Tuesday, and of course on Wednesday. The obligation of those who participate, and those who choose not to vote, to accept and respect the outcome of the elections. And lastly, that those who win should be applauded by those who lose, and that those who lose should be respected by those who win. These electoral processes give rise to credible and fair elections. Have we as South Africans passed this test? I think we have, cum laude. Today I'm pleased to say our democracy is dynamic. As an institution representing our nation, we are and have been witnesses to the evidence that globally democracies and free nations are based on the growing realization, supported by empirical research, that democracies foster peace, economic prosperity, encourage individual freedoms, and the protection of human rights. The former UN Secretary General Boutros Boutros-Ghali remarked in his 1992 Agenda for Peace, and that I quote, "There is an obvious connection between democratic practice such as the rule of law and transparency in decision-making and the achievement of true peace and security in any unstable political order," I close quote. By this statement, Boutros-Ghali not only accepted the proposition that democracy is a means for securing lasting peace, he also observed that true democracy is based on the rule of law and not merely on free and fair elections. South Africa indeed has passed the three major phases for us, the phase one being the creation, expansion, and preservation. In the 14 years, we have tried to cover all this, and now we are at a stage of perseverance and working hard. As much as our nation has changed since 1994, the spirit of celebrating our democracy remains the same. Today, this spirit still prevails. We learn many lessons from each election. One is that every election vote is important. The competition and contestation may be difficult, but that is healthy. Our system of checks and balances has solidified the rule of law and ensured that a leader, local or national, chosen by the people in accordance with the law, is inaugurated and allowed to lead. Let me briefly give you the highlights of these elections. Some of them have been referred to by the CEO. These elections, the contestation and dialogue and the campaign was indeed very vibrant everywhere. The media has never been as active as it has been in these elections. They profiled the elections and were actively involved in promoting the elections. There was no medium left untouched, from Twitter to Facebook to posters to SMEs. And our staff traversed the valleys and the mountains, the suburbs, the townships, to help hundreds of people, including a lady, 109 years old, by the name of Maria Nomsha Dogama, and another lady, 106 years old, Frida Matobi Twala. Mrs. Gama said her wish was to have a house before she dies. When this was broadcast on radio, a good Samaritan offered to build her the house, trust the South Africans to embrace his urge. We salute all the sanitarians who, like Mrs. Twala and Gama, voted this week. As the IEC, we wish to recognize them. This time more than ever before, we have political parties and candidates who have used the judiciary to resolve disputes and find the answers instead of resorting to violence and discrediting the referee, that is us, the IEC. Ladies and gentlemen, for those commissioners who have been, some have since resigned and others have retired, those who have been in this organization for the last 14 years, it has been a pleasure to serve this nation. We are honored by the opportunity and the privilege to participate in this nation's transformation. Through the unwavering support of South Africans, all of us learned that a combination of good and accountable governance, rule of law, sound and economic policies, a strong, effective and efficient public sector, and engaged citizenry all constitute the foundation for democratic growth and consolidation. Ladies and gentlemen, I am honored to present to you the results of the 27 local government elections.
The elections that took place on the 18th of May were held to elect councillors for municipalities across the country. It related to a total of 234 councils, including 8 metropolitan councils, namely Buffalo City, City of Cape Town, City of Johannesburg, Ekurhuleni, eThekwini, Mangaung, Nelson Mandela Bay, and Tshwane Metro, and 226 local councils and 44 district councils. It is a worldwide trend for local government elections not to yield high voter turnout figures. The turnout for these local government elections was, however, particularly good. It was nearly 10% higher than in previous local government elections and is a tribute to more than 13.6 million citizens who participated in these elections. The percentage turnout was National 57.6%, Eastern Cape 58.2%, Free State 55.2%, Gauteng 55.8%, KwaZulu-Natal 61.5%, Limpopo 50.1%, Mpumalanga 55.8%, Northwest 53.5%, Northern Cape 63.4%, Western Cape 64.4%. In summary, the overall support for top parties is ANC 62.0%, DA 23.9%, IFP 3.6%, NFP 2.4%, COPE 2.1%, ACDP 0.6%, UDM 0.6%, Freedom Front Plus 0.5%, PAC 0.4%, APC 0.3%, AZAPO 0.2%, UCDP 0.2%, other parties 2.0%, independents 1.1%. The 8,436 available seats were won by the following parties: ANC 5,633, DA 1,555, IFP 352, COPE 236, NFP 224, UDM 65, PAC 40, ACDP 40, Freedom Front Plus 38, APC 28, UCDP 25, AZAPO 15, other parties 140, independents 45. Of the 234 councils, the ANC won a total of 198, including 7 metros. The DA won 18, including 1 metro. The IFP 5. The NFP 2. Ikoza 1. And Karoo Khemienska Party 1. There are ties in 9 councils. This is the countrywide picture of leading parties by municipality, broken down by province. In the Eastern Cape, the ANC won 38 out of 39 councils and the DA won. In the Free State, ANC 20. In Gauteng, ANC 9, DA 1. In KwaZulu-Natal, ANC 41, IFP 5, NFP 2. In Limpopo, ANC 25. In Mpumalanga, ANC 18. In the Northwest Province, ANC 19. In the Northern Cape, ANC 26. In the Western Cape, DA 16, ANC 2, Ikoza 1, and KGP 1.
I wish to congratulate all the parties for participating in these elections, particularly the African National Congress for its magnificent win. Ladies and gentlemen, in terms of the Electoral Commission Act, Section 64 of the Local Government Municipal Electoral Act 27 of 2000, I am honored to declare the 12-11 local government elections free, fair, and credible. Lastly, to the IEC team, to the CO, and all the stakeholders and partners who made these elections a success, we say, well done from the bottom of our hearts. Siyabulela kakhulu, siyabonga, danke, kyalebucha. Ladies and gentlemen, I now have the honor to invite the President of the Republic of South Africa to come and address us.
Thank you. The chairperson of the IC, Dr. Brigalia Bam, ministers and deputy ministers present, Chief Electoral Officer, Advocate Pensi Tlakula, leaders of the political parties, Speaker of National Assembly, and the chairperson of the NCOP, the diplomatic corps, religious and traditional leaders present, members of the judiciary, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of another important chapter in the consolidation of our young democracy. We are proud of the fact that we have stayed on course since 1994 as a country with regards to democratic norms and systems. We can boldly declare that our democracy has matured in only 17 years. The regular elections that we hold prove our commitment to the clause in the Freedom Charter that says no government can justly claim authority unless it was based on the will of all the people. Our people have declared their will through the ballot box, and ours is to obey and fulfill their wishes. We end the elections process on a very high note because of the successful and efficient manner in which the elections were run and the excitement they generated around the country. We always trust the IEC to deliver an efficient, credible, free and fair election at all times, and they have never failed us as a nation. We are also proud of the fact that this highly regarded institution is headed by women. The success during each election proves the capability of women in leadership positions. We thank the IC for the special care taken to facilitate the special votes, especially that of President Nelson Mandela, the first president of a free and democratic South Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, local government elections are very important as municipalities are the main point of delivery. The local government sphere is closest to the people and provides services that affect the lives of the people directly. When any municipality is faced difficulties, this impacts on residents directly. We are pleased, therefore, that one of the achievements of these elections has been the fact that local government was brought into the mainstream of public discourse and national focus. It is the first time that so much attention was focused on a municipal elections and the state of local government since the advent of democracy. We trust that the importance placed on local government during this election will eliminate any wrong perception that may have existed that local government is the least important sphere of government. Secondly, we are happy and encouraged by the increase in voter turnout, which has defied predictions of voter apathy. This is very impressive and indicates that South Africans understand the crucial role they must play in determining who governs them and how they govern. Our people not only participated by coming out in great numbers than before, but they also determined the agenda of these elections. The people identified service delivery as an issue. They articulated this in various community meetings and also through protest action in some areas long before the elections were conducted. They decided that this election would be about basic services such as water, electricity, housing, sanitation, roads, and functional refuse removal, amongst others. It came down to bread and butter issues, as any municipal election should. This indicates how much our citizens, especially the new voters, understand democracy and how much they are able to relate their votes to their own conditions. They want the vote to work for them to improve their lives. We congratulate the South African population for playing such an active role in strengthening democracy. This activism must not stop. It must translate to working with government at all levels to bring about a better life. The next step is for people to use their hard-won right to vote to influence government and governance by participating in ward committees, community safety forums, school governing bodies, and other structures. Ladies and gentlemen, now that the fierce campaigning and competition for votes has ended, it is time for political parties to begin working together. The South African people, especially the poor and the workers, must be the real winners of the 2011 local government elections. There must be visible change in their living conditions. Irrespective of who controls a municipality, parties must put aside their differences and join hands to improve the lives of all our citizens. We must now put our country and its people first. From the side of national government, the elections have proved to us that our emphasis on improving monitoring and evaluation is correct and should be intensified. We have made local government a standing item on the agenda of the Cabinet so that we can monitor performance from a national level on a regular basis. In addition, the President will engage premiers on how to improve the monitoring of the performance of municipalities in terms of Section 139 of the Constitution. Once the municipalities are settled and the transition to new administrations is complete, we have to begin the implementation of a local government delivery agreement in earnest with the new leadership. Local government turnaround strategy was finalized after a thorough process of discussion and negotiation amongst the three spheres of government. The main thrust of the agreement is to achieve the responsive, accountable, effective, and efficient local government system. The outcome has a number of key pillars. One of them is the recognition that municipalities are not the same. They are different in terms of their capabilities and capacities, their revenue base, population size, size of the economy, and their broader social context. When supporting municipalities to improve performance, national government will take into account and not adopt a one-size-fits-all approach which does not work. Other key pillars include strengthening the administrative and financial capabilities of municipalities to ensure greater transparency fighting corruption, promoting good financial management, and strengthening community participation. The delivery agreement also emphasizes the need to ensure all critical positions are filled by competent and qualified individuals. This will enable us to achieve our delivery targets as government. We are ready to begin working with provincial and local government to bring about real meaningful change as called upon by our people during these elections. Let me also take this opportunity to congratulate our people for the peaceful nature of our elections. Other than a few isolated incidents, political parties were able to campaign freely in areas of their choice, even in areas which had been problematic in the past. Free political activity is an important barometer of political maturity and political tolerance in any society. We also congratulate all political parties and leaders for their hard work during the past few weeks. The spirited nature of the campaigns demonstrated the vibrancy of our democracy. We extend our best wishes to all who have gained the honor and privilege of serving our people as councillors. From this moment on, the lives of our new councillors will change. You have to accept you are a servant of the people and that you account to all the people in your ward. You are accountable to people who voted for you and those who did not vote for you, because councillors must serve all South Africans and all South African people equally. We trust that councillors will be able to ensure that every citizen knows how they can be contacted and that they will all know the service delivery needs of their communities. We must make local government work better. Councillors have a lot of work to do, and we must all support them. Let me also thank our security cluster, especially the police and home affairs. Fellow South Africans, the elections are over, and there is a lot of work to be done. Let us get back to work. Working together, we will continue to do more. And I thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. My function, friends, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, is to...
Well, you just heard the President of the Republic talking there to South Africans, of course, after the release of the final results of the 2011 local government elections. Well, President Jacob Zuma there, just to recap, saying it is about time, it's now time for political parties to forget about electioneering, because all of that has been done. The time now is for all of us to put aside our differences, for political parties to forget about electioneering and actually find ways and means of working together, putting South Africans first, putting voters first. We are going to take a quick commercial break before we continue with this program. Welcome back. You're watching a live special broadcast. We're coming to you from the IEC's National Results Center in Pretoria. Well, if you've just missed it, the chairperson of the IEC, Dr. Brigalia Bam, announced the final results that have been verified and which all parties have actually accepted. So what you heard this evening is in fact final, and perhaps each and every South African should be happy that in other countries what happened in this election does not happen. In other words, where you have all parties without a single exception actually accepting the outcome. Well, with me now to discuss some of these issues is Dr. Somadoda Fikeni. Dr. Fikeni, let's start with the IEC's appraisal of its own work. The fact that they managed to deal with the challenges that they were confronted with on time, and they were open and transparent with everyone. And as a result, what we're seeing today is that all parties, without exception, have actually accepted the outcome.
Well, I do think that the current leadership, which is mainly women, which the President referred to, has done so well that they are often invited in many other countries in Africa and in other developing countries to assist in preparation for elections. So this is a world standard preparation for elections. They were transparent, they work with the parties, and they are prompt, working on such a tight deadline or tight project with almost a militaristic precision. That I think the nation has to take their hat off for them.
Of course, the ability to retain staff and have institutional memory is obviously one of the pluses that the IEC has to its advantage.
It has that, and we'll wait and watch when 4 of the commissioners, including the chairperson and the deputy chairperson, will have to leave with the end of their term in October to see how the new leadership is going to handle issues moving forward.
Mm-hmm. Now, President Jacob Zuma dealt with another issue that I think all South Africans would now be wishing that all parties, in other words, I think he was speaking on behalf of all South Africans when he was saying that it's now the electioneering is over. It's time for political parties to work together, put aside their differences, and put South Africans first.
I think that's a very important point that was being made. But I'm not so sure, given the contestation and the negative energy that was there, that you'll immediately see that. And even worse, that even within the ANC itself, they have opened the possibility of certain seats being reviewed. That in itself could actually take us into another terrain of controversy, which may impact on service delivery and stability of the municipalities if it is not well handled.
But if you were to bring this party together in one room on Monday morning and having to drive the message that the President just conveyed, what would you say to them?
Well, I would tell them that the national interest and the community interest are always most important, and voters will remember those parties which, despite all the challenges, rose above and said these are the interests of the community we are serving, and that we are servants rather than leaders, because I think that in itself would galvanize so many people, even if they are political opponents.
Mention was made here, and I think everyone is excited about this, that the turnout got up from, of the country's 23.6 million registered voters, 57% turned up on Wednesday. One would actually want to see the kind of energy that political parties put into this campaign are actually the same political parties putting the same levels of energy to actually doing better things for everybody. In other words, not just canvassing votes for their respective political parties.
I think that would be everybody's wish, but key here is civic activism, because this democracy becoming competitive is because people voiced their concerns and they even protested and they expressed their disappointment. And if they keep that pressure on the political leaders, surely the eternal vigilance on political leaders and the fierce urgency of bringing services to the people will always be seen.
Well, Dr. Figen, I'm afraid that is where we are going to have to leave it because of time. We've run out of time. Well, to all viewers at home, you've been watching a live broadcast from the National Results Center of the Independent Electoral Commission here in Pretoria. Well, everything has been said and done. It's all about now work that needs to be done to improve the lives of South Africans moving forward. From all of us here, we say goodbye and enjoy your weekend.